He's built like a 2K MyPlayer. LeBron called him an alien, and Victor Wembanyama has been taking the basketball world by storm. Is he overhyped, or could he be one of the greatest prospects of all time? This is a prospect analysis of Victor Wembanyama. So I'm just gonna call this guy Victor Dub or V-Dub because y'all know I'd be butchering the names. But anyways, where did the 7'5" spider even come from? V-Dub was born in Le Chesnay, France in 2004. Yeah, you heard that right. Dude is just 18 years old. His mom played basketball and she put a ball in his hand and started coaching him seriously when he was just 5. He went from his local club to quickly joining the youth system of Nanterre 92 of Pro A, the top basketball league in France. After becoming the second youngest player to ever play in the Euro Cup at age 15 and showing out in the Adidas Next Gen tournament, making the all-tournament team, Wembanyama was named the best young player in Pro A for the 2020-2021 season. Then he opted to leave Nanterre after the season since he had been living there since the age of 10 and was ready for a change of scenery. Victor Dub signed a 3-year deal with Asvel, another Pro A team owned by former NBA star Tony Parker. Although he played well for them last season, having a game in which he shot 13 for 19 from the field with a career-high 25 points, and he earned another Best Young Player award, he unfortunately suffered a muscle injury which forced him to miss the French League playoffs, and he subsequently opted out of the remainder of his contract, which I guess you can do pretty much whenever you want in a lot of these Euro leagues. Anyways, this summer, Wembanyama signed a 2-year contract with Metropolitans 92 of the Pro A. And man, this is where things really started to take off for him in terms of media coverage, as Metro 92 scheduled a couple exhibition preseason games against presumed number 2 pick Scoot Henderson in the G League Ignite. And if y'all are NBA fans and y'all haven't seen some of the highlights from those games already, then you guys are just living under a rock, because it was fireworks at these games. Wembanyama balled out and put up 37 points on 7 of 11 shooting from 3, which is ridiculous for someone 7'5", alongside 4 rebounds and 5 blocks in the first game, although they lost 122 to 115. This guy looked like a legit cheat code out there, hitting spot-up threes, step-back bombs off the dribble handoff threes, pretty much any way you could shoot a three-pointer, he showcased. Besides that, his mobility and ball handling were just logic-defying at times, considering he's 7'5", and he had all 200 of the NBA scouts and executives in the building absolutely salivating. In that second encounter with the G League Ignite 2 days later, he followed it up with another impressive performance, scoring 36 and grabbing 11 rebounds in a 112-106 win, including a ridiculous off-the-dribble fadeaway from the right corner that very few players in the world would attempt, let alone make as a 7-footer. These performances on US soil definitely gained him attention in the American media, and I think really put to bed a lot of the doubts some of his detractors had about the competition level he had overseas. I mean, these guys he was getting buckets on and absolutely dominating physically out there. I mean, these guys are the future stars of the NBA. The G League Ignite has had lottery picks every single year the last couple seasons, and usually they're some of the best prospects in the league. So these are not like bums that he's doing this against. These are the future stars of the NBA. Sports writers and NBA players singing his praises, with some including Giannis already saying he could end up one of the game's GOATs. This kid is serious, guys. So Victor Dub is expected to be selected first in the 23 NBA draft. And not only does he have the game, but his smooth self-confidence mirrors his gracefulness on the court, with surprising fluid English compared to previous overseas imports. Speaking to the media, the young star said the following about Scoot Henderson, who's seen as its biggest rival in the draft. He's a really great player. If I was never born, I think he would deserve the first spot. Out of all the prospects I've heard about in our class, I think he's my favorite one. I think he's the most reliable that I've seen. Although he had nice words, man, on the court competition is at its highest, and Wembanyama and Henderson really went at each other a bunch of times. And although Scoot did get him a couple times on some nice buckets, including a nice cross and step back, Victor Dub blocked him over and over and over again in the paint and in the perimeter. His 8-foot wingspan is such a cheat code that he blocked him on jumpers numerous times, which is usually a rarity at this level, especially for a prospect of Scoot's caliber. His dimensions are just completely unnatural for these guards to adjust to. They're used to being able to get off jumpers or blowing by these bigs easily on switches, but with Victor, that's just not the case. But you may be wondering, how did this European boy not go viral like this until now? Well, he did go pretty viral a couple years back, beating Rudy Gobert in a one-on-one, but up till now, we could say people didn't really take him seriously because, one, he played in the Euro League. Euroball is more of a tactical team game, while the NBA is much more isolation and pick and roll heavy, and of course, much more physical. So whenever there's a top prospect coming to the USA, everyone always questions if his game will translate to the more physical side of the league. Surprise, 7'5" with handles and a nasty 3 translates. Also, the other thing that made people not really take him serious is he's super skinny. I mean, like, this dude could get blown over by a gust of wind. So of course the casual fan is gonna doubt his skill. Although he was well known in NBA scouts and league executive circles before his games in Las Vegas, now he's really on the map when it comes to the national media and the casual fans, and the hype train is building fast. Even LeBron and AD went to watch this kid play, and that's because this kid is literally a talent the world has just never seen. So let's dive even deeper on Victor Dub's skill set. Each great NBA player has unique skill sets and specialties. Jordan's mid-range technique and aerial acrobatics were beautiful and flawless to watch. Kobe had elite footwork and drive to succeed. Shaq could dominate anyone with his sheer brute strength. KD could shoot over almost anyone and handle the ball. Kyrie has world-class handle and skill, and LeBron is just an all-around beast in every area. So while he's still young and for sure has to put on more weight and can improve in a lot of areas, Wembanyama has all of these things I just said in his bag. It's just about improving his skills further to elite levels. He literally plays like a Kevin Durant with the height of Yao Ming. Wembanyama has an 8-foot wingspan, and once again, it's just unbelievable to see the things he can do, the way he can handle the ball, and the grace he moves around the court with his 7'5" height. And to top it all off, he's a plus player defensively. You can try to shoot, but his closeout's too fast. Not to mention his wingspan is like a regular guy holding a broom, his arms are so dang long. He's a player that absolutely breaks the game, a real cheat code. But he does have that main one obvious weakness, which is he is skinny. I mean, a moderate gust of Chicago wind could blow this guy over. Imagine for a second LeBron meeting Wembanyama in the paint. Yeah, I don't want to imagine that either. Also, think about Wembanyama trying to intimidate players like Giannis or Zion Williamson at the rim. Of course he won't. At such a strength deficit, they could absolutely little boy him out of the way and his height becomes negated. And let's not forget how much hype there was about Chet Holmgren coming into the league, and he didn't even make it through summer pro-ams before LeBron put him in a body bag and out for the season. And as a Knicks fan, I can't help but be remembered by his body type and skill set of a young Kristaps Porzingis, who obviously didn't have as much length or anywhere near as much mobility and handles that Victor has, but Porzingis was one of the best rim protectors in the league in his early years and dazzled Knicks fans with his shooting and dunking displays. But now he's already washed up from injuries at just 27 years old, and he did the work to put on weight that his coaches wanted to protect him. But what happened was his knees couldn't handle the additional strain of that extra muscle and weight that he added, and it actually caused more injuries to happen. So it's always hard to tell how these ultra tall guys will turn out. Sometimes it just seems like a lottery who lasts and who doesn't. So durability will be the first, second, and third biggest concerns for him, and that's why so many people compare him to KD or Giannis' early years, as they came in the league with similar builds muscularly but were able to avoid injury and bulk up. So obviously he's like a taller KD, but also has massive upside defensively too if he can put on a little bit more weight while also not jeopardizing his jumping ability. Imagine a muscular and healthy Wembanyama. Man, he's going to be a problem for the league for sure. But a lot of people are saying Victor Wembanyama is the best prospect since LeBron James, and that gets thrown out a lot. I mean, I remember people saying that about Andrew Wiggins. I remember people saying that about Zion Williamson, who Zion Williamson to me is the truth, but I mean, let's be honest, he hasn't been a success in the league so far because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. So every time there's a top prospect, all this pressure in the social media age goes on him. There's a new chef in the league, he's the best now, there's nothing better than this kid. The media just really builds them up to tear them down. Just look how they did Zion recently. The media just absolutely eviscerated him. So obviously there's tons of potential with Victor W, but there's also tons of pressure because that potential is a great source of PR as well as his potential fall would be. So we gotta be careful about putting too much expectations on the young man. I mean, yeah, he could be a franchise's savior in the long run, but he's 18 years old and he's yet to achieve anything. But like I said, man, if he really stays healthy, puts on muscle, gets better in terms of his moves and bag, the NBA is gonna be in trouble for real. Also, I will say there's one element of the game that hasn't really been tested yet with him, and that's the mental side of the game. Because you know people like Montrezl Harrell, Pat Beverly, Draymond Green, and other irritants in the league are gonna come at him hard and really try to abuse him. There's no place for anyone soft in the league. Just look how they did Frank Ntilikina. So he needs to make sure that he's rock solid mentally, but it seems like he has that confidence already. It will just be about competing when the time comes, when people try to physically manhandle him and do things of that nature. I'm super excited to see Victor in the league, and it's been said so many times before, but there really has never been a prospect quite like him. So I just can't wait to see what he does. In theory, this dude could be the most unguardable player ever. I mean, you cannot block his shot. Like, there's no possible way of even contesting him. So I'm really excited to see what type of stuff he does. That's all for now, guys. That's my prospect review on Victor Wembanyama. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.